God gave us this product,
Yes.
I believe.
Yes.
How many years ago did we get this product, I wonder?
He gave this to us about 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
We use it all the time. I mean, I don't think I'd have made it without silver for my throat and all. That this is amazing. Would you recommend, as a doctor, people to have silver in their house for a pandemic?
You never want to be without silver.
Never.
For so many reasons. Never.
Never.
You know, this is a staple. Talk about
Yes,
staples.
it is a staple.
This is a staple for your family.
Yes.
All I can say is that it has been proven by the government that it has the ability to kill every pathogen it has ever been tested on, including SARS and HIV.
877-789-2539 on this Tuesday Global Transmission. I'm not going to belabor this. I'm just going to tell you that for just your daily life and your gums and your teeth and for regular viruses and bacteria, the patented nano silver we have, the Pentagon has come out and documented, and Homeland Security, and said this stuff kills the whole SARS corona family at point blank range. Well, of course it does. It kills every virus. And the Pentagon uses the product we have. So I'm just saying we're always cutting edge, thank to God. I just go with the research, go with the spirit, and we always have it.
Hello, and welcome to the E Potibus Unum podcast. I'm Eitan.
And I'm Dan.
Yeah, so you can reach us at epotibus on Twitter and epotibus@gmail.com.
Gmail.com. Ever hear of it?
The more you know.
Hey, listen, what if Google is like, hey, we like you guys. Maybe you can plug Gmail. Maybe
Yeah, because they need the advertising.
Maybe no one's heard of it.
Please send us an email. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. Let us know your feedback. What can we do better? What can we do worse? What are we too good at that we need to tone down?
Exactly. Is there something we're so good at that we're making every other show look really, really bad in comparison? Let us know, and we'll pull the reins back on that.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to make other people look bad.
No.
We're good people.
Joe Rogan's looking at us like, oh man, I wish I could have what they have.
No. Joe Rogan's like, yeah, okay. That guy's always high as fuck, man. He's like, that's why he's so mellow.
But he asks good questions.
No, he's inquisitive, sure.
Yeah, he's very inquisitive. I just listened to his podcast with Brian Greene, the physicist. It was really fascinating podcast.
String theory.
There's a little more than just that.
Well, that's what Greene is known for the most. Yeah. Has he ever had out on Michio Kaku?
That's a good question. I don't know. Michio Kaku, probably. He's had like everybody on. Had everybody on. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Rogan is intellectually curious, if not an intellectual.
And did Einstein say that's more important? Being curious is more important than being an intellectual? I think
I was going to say, but we're intellectuals and we're curious. Oh. What? High five.
Wow.
Thank you so much for coming to our show today, guys. We really appreciate you taking this time to just listen. They call it talk radio. With us, we're listen radio, only a podcast.
On today's podcast, we'll be talking about
Medicare for all is actually the norm, ladies and gentlemen.
Was that Elvis? But first, Trump's national security briefings are now mainly pictures and charts because he doesn't know how to read. This is according to two sources who are close to the matter.
That's my president. Trump nominated Rep. John Ratcliffe to be Director of National Intelligence, who was already nominated a few months back and rejected by the Republican-led Senate. That's how crazy this guy is.
Yeah, he has absolutely no experience, and he's
and he lied about his experience. Yeah. He puffed up his resume, this fucking loser.
In case you missed it, the U.S. signed a peace agreement with the Taliban, which excluded the government of Afghanistan. In it, 5,000 Taliban fighters, mostly terrorists, are pledged to be released, but the Afghani government didn't approve any of that and said that it won't do it. And, of course, the agreement held up about a day before Taliban went back to Talibaning. The Afghani government had no part in this at all. They didn't agree to this. They're still fighting each other. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And when Obama did a deal, remember when he released like 3 Taliban people? Mm-hmm. The Republicans would ape shit. Meanwhile, Trump wants to release 5,000 and everybody's cool with that.
And that was in exchange for one of ours. This is just for
this is a freebie.
And this is on the heels of, remember Trump wanted to invite the Taliban to Camp David on 9/11?
Trump has a hit list of who to throw out of government because they're perceived enemies. Now, that hit list, one of his generals who's taking care of that hit list is none other than the wife of Supreme Court dude Clarence Pubic Hair in Your Coke Thomas.
Yeah. Well, Jenny Thomas has always been about far to the right of Genghis Khan.
And he should not have any say over anything that comes up in the court regarding this president at all when she's working for him. That is literally the biggest conflict of interest I've seen in a long time, and I live in America.
CNN has reported that current and former justice officials describe an attorney general, Bill Barr, who doesn't readily take advice and is prone to right-wing conspiracies that he reads in fringe conservative sites on the internet.
All right. When the president should have been working on the coronavirus, he spent 45 minutes with actors who were part of a play about the deep state. And it's basically about the two FBI agents who...
Doesn't matter what it's about. Who gives a shit?
Who had an affair or whatever. The point is, he spent 45 minutes with these stupid actors, talking about this bullshit when there was literally a worldwide emergency going on.
Justice Sonia Sotomayor warns the Supreme Court is doing special favors for the Trump administration. According to an article on Vox, the normal rules of the Supreme Court no longer apply to the Trump administration. So Robert Reich has pointed out that after 1.5 years of the Trump tax scam,
Oh, the tax scam. Like Taxman?
Yeah, I get it.
I can do the music too, but go ahead.
The stock market has been erratic. It's been in constant free fall, only recovering because of Joe Biden's big win on Super Tuesday.
Yeah, he's normalcy.
Wages have not kept up with inflation as usual. Wages have been stagnant pretty much since the mid to late 70s. The deficit is also on track to surpass $1 trillion this year. Remember, it reached nearly $1 trillion last year. And the 1,000 biggest companies have cut more jobs than they've created.
That's fake news. Everybody knows that once they got that tax break, they said, hey, let's hire more people. Let's give people more money in their bank wallet.
And instead, what they did is they enrich themselves, they buy back their stocks, and then they eliminate jobs.
USA, love to leave it.
The only thing that America seems to be number one at these days is...
Hold on, ignorance? Stupidity?
I was going to say,
racism?
chanting that USA is number one.
Not having universal health care? Mm-hmm. Early childhood death. Mothers dying during birth. We're pretty...
Opioid crisis.
Obesity
crisis.
Yeah. We're high on a lot of loser-ass lists.
From former Obama White House and voting rights lawyer Daniel Jacobson.
Oh, Daniel's the best. Obama here. I sound a little weird because I got a lozenge.
He said that the D.C. Circuit Court decision not compelling Don McGahn to testify before Congress says that if not overruled en banc, which is by 9 justices, or by the Supreme Court, this would essentially end congressional oversight of the presidency. Full stop. The president will have no incentive to ever comply with subpoenas if Congress can't enforce them.
Hold on. This is called presidential harassment. Everybody knows it. Everybody's talking about it. They say to me, one guy, just the other day, he said, sir, they're harassing you. That's sexual. I'm sorry, presidential harassment. And then I said, you said sexual. I know about that too.
So this is actually unprecedented. No court has ever held that Congress can't go to the courts to enforce subpoenas.
It's insane.
Mm-hmm. But what it would essentially do is, according to Jacobson, this would completely neuter the entire power of impeachment because Congress no longer has the ability to gather evidence.
Yeah, of course.
And the D.C. Circuit Court's opinion by the 2 in the majority said that, well, Congress has the power. The person can withhold appropriations, but the president can just ignore that and redirect money anyway, just like Trump did with the border wall.
Right.
So DOJ has argued that Congress can't sue in court about that either. So the Department of Justice is saying, well, we can't sue about the president reallocating money. We can withhold money that the president can then just reallocate. So it's just very circular.
That's still in the courts too, though.
Yeah, but it's completely circular.
The other thing that they could do, which one of the judges pointed out, is they alluded to the Congress's power to arrest people who try to escape a subpoena.
I would actually be interested in knowing
in
2020 what power the Sergeant at Arms still has.
The power to arrest them is still there. The argument is, well, we don't have a jail, blah, blah, blah. Well, build a little jail and throw them in there because there are no prescriptions as to what the jail has to be, what it has to look like. Let's get a damn truck, put motherfuckers in there. I know when people go down to protest at the Capitol, they have these makeshift jails that they hold people in for a few hours. Let's throw McGahn in jail and see how long he wants to stay in a shitty truck jail until he fucking does the right thing. He doesn't want to go because Trump has hired his goddamn business for untold hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So it's a financial interest for him not to.
Who are you talking about? Don McGahn?
Don McGahn, the company he works for. Trump hired that company.
Yeah.
So just throw him in jail. Let's do it and see what happens. What pisses me off is that the Trump administration, you just shoot for the moon and then you get pulled back sometimes. But oftentimes they win. So I'm saying let's shoot for the moon. Let's get the sergeant at arms to throw motherfuckers in a prison and see what happens.
I'm with you.
I don't understand why they don't do this.
I'm with you on that.
You know, because desperate times call for desperate measures.
Well, because Democrats always play by a separate set of rules. We say, here are the rules that we all implicitly agree on, and they shake our hands with their fingers crossed behind their back, and then kick us in the balls.
A lot of people want to see motherfuckers in prison for doing the wrong thing.
I'm pretty sure when Madison sat down and was writing the Constitution, he had Article 1, throw some motherfuckers in jail.
He did. Yeah. I saw that at the museum.
I think that was in Hamilton.
Yeah, it was in Hamilton.
Also, this was a sleeper story that really, really needs to be getting a lot more attention, which is, in addition to suing the New York Times over an opinion piece, Trump also sued Washington Post, and also like there's criminals like Devin Nunes have been suing them.
Oh, yeah.
This is incredibly, incredibly dangerous because it is exactly the progressions of authoritarianism and shutting down a free press. So the idea is that they will continue to sue over and over and over and over and harass a free press to either A, not write stories critical of the administration, or B, drive them out of business because just the
constant, That's the plan, guys.
Somebody said, like, imagine what we would think if we saw this happening in another country. What would we say? We'd be like, oh, yeah, of course, these dictators and banana republics, or in this case,
banana Republicans, trademark.
On healthcare, 22 independent studies have confirmed that Medicare for all, or as we say here for better messaging, healthcare for all, saves lives and saves money, over $600 billion a year.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, there's a much lower overhead. I mean, you don't have CEOs making millions and millions of dollars. You don't have VPs making millions of dollars. You don't have all these managers making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and on and on and on. You're saving billions just on overhead alone.
The administrative costs alone would save $600 billion a year. Saving on prescription drugs would be up to $300 billion a year. It would also help reduce healthcare spending from fraudulent services. That drives up a lot of healthcare costs now. It also shows that it costs a lot less than the public option. So, Dan, what's going on today?
Bro, no, Chad here.
Chad.
You guys should talk about Medicare for all.
Okay, let's talk.
In Medicare for all, we have to message it a lot better, okay? Because
healthcare for all.
Yes. I mean, healthcare for all is certainly what we want. Republicans don't. Remember McConnell himself, when they were going to get rid of Obamacare, and they were like, what are you going to do with the 20 million people that are going to lose healthcare? And his answer was no comment. In any event, Republicans are the ones who've controlled the narrative on this for a really long time, saying, oh, it's a communist takeover, yada, yada, yada. And one thing we have to talk about is the Overton window, right? So let's break it down real quick for people who don't know what it is. But let's say we have numbers 1 through 10, where 1 represents the extreme communism, right? Say
1 is extreme left and 10 is extreme right?
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly. So 1 is like communism and 10 would be like a dictatorship, a totalitarian warlord type. So let's say 4, 5, and 6 is basically middle of the road. So for the last several decades, Republicans have been pushing the middle of the road option further and further toward 10.
Right.
Or the more radical, right, radical conservative warlord person 10. where they don't listen to the public.
They have authoritarian tendencies.
The country is way more liberal than Republicans would have you believe. For instance, 70% of Americans support Medicare for all. 74% of Americans support a wealth tax. 67% of Americans support legalizing marijuana. Actually, these three things I just said, Biden opposes all of them, by the way. Not to get political, but those are facts.
Also, for Medicare for all,
yes, sir.
A new study from The Lancet, researchers from Yale, University of Florida, University of Maryland, estimated that Medicare for all would save, we talked about the saving in the last section for $600 billion a year, but we didn't get to lives. It would prevent 68,000 unnecessary deaths each year and bring in annual savings per family to $2,400 per year. Medicare for all would do that.
When Bernie is pushing Medicare for all, Republicans pretend like it's this Red Army takeover of America. The fact is, every other rich democracy has universal health care. From the place that gave us Crocodile Dundee.
Australia?
Yep. The land that gave us the Hobbits.
Also neighboring New Zealand?
Yeah. They have free healthcare for everybody.
I mean, movie Hobbits.
Yeah.
Tolkien was in England. I saw his grave when I went to Oxford.
Wonderful. This is an important aspect to constantly message, is all these other countries have it. Why is it that the country that gave us Benny Hill can pull off universal healthcare, but the country that put the man on the moon can't have universal healthcare for all its people?
It's a good question.
Why is it that the country known for lakes, do you know who that is?
Switzerland?
No.
Minnesota.
You're close. Finland.
They're known for lakes?
They have 144,000 lakes. That's what they're known for, lakes. They can pull off universal health care, but the country that gave us the personal computer can't figure that out. So, what I'm saying is we can use this kind of ironic jingoism to push the message. The country that gave us Oprah can't figure out how to make healthcare. What's good about shooting for healthcare for all is even if you fail the first time, then you end up with the public option. That is not a bad thing. That's a huge step forward.
More importantly, you also message to the American people where you stand as a party and as an individual, and you can start making these clear distinctions between you and Republicans or you and somebody else.
While a public option may not be the ideal thing, it's a really big step forward. It'll help give healthcare to almost everybody. And it's also negotiation 101. So when you're negotiating, you want to make the first offer, they call it an anchor, right? So if you really want a raise of, say, $5,000, right? Then you go in and you ask for $10,000. If you bargain down to $5,000, well, you got what you wanted. So anchoring is basically a tactic whereby you place a really high number or demand. So it's psychologically set as the bar from which you then bargain downward. But that's what we have to do. Biden said that one of the things he's for is affordable healthcare. Affordable healthcare. That is literally a Republican talking point because one man's affordable healthcare is another woman's I can't afford this healthcare. This is a huge problem. We can't use these nebulous words like affordable. So if Bernie goes in demanding Medicare for all and ends up with a public option, that's a huge win. It's a better place to start off than others who start off from a less ambitious foundation, like Biden, who keeps on talking about affordable healthcare for all. The public option, if funded and managed well, would lead people to choose it. Say you're at a, whatever job, career you're in, right? So now if you check out the public option and you like it, you can tell your employer, look, I don't want your healthcare, but I want a higher salary. It could change the whole game. It would lead to a situation where more people have more money in their paycheck, and that money will go right back into the economy. That is a win-win. Sanders talked about one woman who was paying about $20,000 a year for healthcare. So he was saying, would you rather pay $10,000 a year more in taxes and then not pay $20,000 a year for healthcare? Obviously, that question answers itself. And in addition to which, it's not just the money. It's also the constant bullshit that you have to deal with the healthcare stuff. I was talking to a friend recently who went to the hospital and there's all these bills. And then she's getting advice from other people. And they're like, well, you can fight it, but you have to call your doctor. And then your doctor can be an advocate for you, blah, 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 blah. You get rid of all that stress that you don't have to deal with anymore.
Well, and also many doctors themselves are for single payer.
Yeah.
They spend just as much time or more time dealing with insurance companies than they do actually treating patients or practicing medicine.
More than they ever have.
Yeah. It also saves them money because they don't have to hire people to deal with the insurance, or they can see more patients and practice more medicine.
Or see patients for a longer amount of time to give them better health care.
Yeah, absolutely.
because now everything is rushed and people miss stuff. People are human. Doctors are, all too human.
They misdiagnosed me. They said I was a hebele.
I think it should be messaged not only as joining the rest of the world, but also as it is a very American idea. Remember, we've been trying to do this for about 100 years now.
Yeah,
and it's
that's
always
right.
been
Yeah.
people on the wrong side of history, conservatives, however they manifested themselves.
Business owners, robber barons.
Yeah, who have always pushed back against that. There's nothing more American. It is the founding ideas of this country. If all people are created equal, then having one healthcare system for the very wealthy and a very substandard healthcare system for everyone else is really anathema to our founding principles. It's also the same reason why separate but equal is unconstitutional, because the very idea of being separate shows that it is unequal. And that is what we have now. The idea of being separate from people who can afford it. If you're a gajillionaire, then the U.S. is the best place to have healthcare. But if you're anyone else who's not a gajillionaire,
I have the best healthcare ever. Everybody knows it.
then the U.S. is not a very good place to get sick.
I agree with you. All white people are equal.
So, nobody goes to Canada and says, oh my God, there were lines at the grocery store and for bread and toilet paper. And Canada has universal healthcare. They cover their people. They care about their people. Another thing is the cost of medication in this country is out of control. So in Canada, for instance, recently people were talking about insulin. The cost of insulin is about 10 times as much here than it is in Canada. Canada's 1/10 to buy insulin. So you have a bunch of Americans going up to Canada to buy insulin.
Didn't Bernie take a bunch of people up to Canada?
I believe he did. To me, this is kind of crazy. And this is another really big messaging opportunity, Eitan. Here's my idea. This insulin and all these other drugs that cost so much more here and are so cheaper everywhere else, it's crazy to me because we invented all of these drugs. They're all made by mostly American countries.
American countries?
Pfizer. They're mostly made by American companies. So it seems crazy to me that they wouldn't be cheaper here and more expensive everywhere else. Imagine, if you will, Eitan,
I will.
an iPhone.
Okay.
The really expensive iPhones, let's say it's about $1,000, right?
It's more. It's like 14.
Let's say it's $1,000 for the sake of argument.
Okay. Cheap
So
iPhone.
just imagine if that $1,000 iPhone was $1,000 everywhere else except in the US. What if that freaking phone was $10,000? What would happen? There would literally be riots in the street.
Yeah.
If that were to happen, they'd be like, $10,000 iPhone, that's crazy. It's designed here. All the ideas and the people who work for the company are here. That's crazy.
And it's not even built here, the iPhone.
Right. It's not built here. But
Unlike drugs, which...
right. But the whole creative force, all the programmers, the main architects of it are here in this country. People will go crazy if that thing was 10 times as much money here. But yet that's what healthcare is. What if like a box of cereal, like a really good quality cereal is like $5, right?
You mean not just regular Cheerios, but Honey Nut Cheerios?
Yeah, Honey Nut Cheerios,
Wow.
$5 in this country. Let's say that shit was $5 everywhere else. In Canada, you get Honey Nut Cheerios for $5. Here, it's $50. People would be freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
Yet, we're okay with spending 10 times as much money on insulin. People die. They're rationing their insulin because they can't afford it. This is beyond immoral.
You were talking earlier about the Overton window. This is what authoritarians do to their people to keep them in check. You want to keep them depressed in the sense of struggling.
Yeah.
So that way you don't have the resources to overthrow the authoritarian leader.
Yeah.
We've said several times on this program before that they want us disenfranchised, destitute, and dead.
That's all lies. I want all my people alive.
Yeah.
The white ones. The white ones,
Straight white ones, or
I mean, I'll take a couple of gay guys, but they're mostly straight white guys.
what about women?
And well, yes, we need women to.
What about
have-
non-Christians?
No.
What about not people who aren't billionaires or millionaires?
No. We can have 100,000 heirs if they're hot. If they're 8 and above, they can stay.
Sorry, Eli and Morlocks.
I'm sorry?
Never mind.
Who's Eli? We'll take some of the Jews, not all of them.
So we've said about keeping us disenfranchised, destitute, and dead. It's a way of controlling your population to bend them to the will of the dictator.
We have to keep on messaging that every adult country in the world takes care of their people. They have some form of universal health care. It's an easy message. Let's take care of each other. Whether you're rich or poor, whether you're the hardest working person in the world or you're a lazy piece of crap, everyone should at least have decent health care.
Again, going back to the founding principles of this country, that there's inherent worth in every person.
Exactly. If you're a Christian, remember, Jesus Christ didn't ask people for their insurance card. You know, he didn't ask, Jan, let me check your card to see if you're insured before I heal you. No. You know, if you were blind, he didn't say, where's your card? I speak Braille.
I'm sorry. That's a supplemental insurance. We don't take their
Yeah, exactly. No, Jesus didn't do that. He just healed the blind.
I'm sorry. Your Jesus is out of network.
You know, exactly. So it's like if you're a Christian, you should be the first people in line to say, yes, everyone deserves health care as a human right. Period.
Yeah.
And we have to keep on messaging this. It's Christian values.
It's human values.
It's human values. It's American values.
Yeah.
Universal healthcare means everyone gets the coronavirus vaccine.
There is no vaccine.
When it comes out, that's what socialism is. That's what healthcare for all is. Everyone gets the vaccine. Nobody has to pay an arm and a leg. We're all in it together.
That's it for this week. We'll be off for the next 2 weeks, but please feel free to send us an email. Tell us what you like, what you don't like.
And if you want to adopt me, our email is epodibus@gmail.com.
Also, feel free to tweet at us. That's at epodibus. If you have something that you want us to cover, let us know.
Yeah. Is there a topic you think should be messaged better? Can help fight the cause?
Don't fight the cause. Join the cause.
Fight for the cause.
Fight for the cause. Jeez.
Fight against the cause of Republicans.
You see, that's what Trump does. He says something, and then when something changes, he says, "See, that's what I meant. That thing that happened 2 months later. That's what I was referring to."
Yeah. And remember, messaging is only half the battle. We have to mobilize.
Yeah.
Please give to Stacey Abrams' Fair Fight or some of the other causes we'll have in the show notes.
God bless America.
We'll see you soon. Say goodbye, Dan.
Goodbye, Dan.